it didn't feel set up properly. Like, oh, they get there and then everyone just moved to Utah. Okay, what? Are you
Yeah.
serious?
Time to go
That's
to
it. All right,
Utah.
gotta
Oh,
go to Utah now.
but this
Oh,
time, good luck. You're stabbed.
hey everyone, my name's Nick.
And I'm Ray. And today we're going to be talking about The Last of Us, episode 6. And I'll just say it. Great episode again.
I really enjoyed the first 3 quarters of this episode. I had issues with the ending. I did not care for it at all, and we can get into that in a minute.
Yeah, the ending definitely is like another fetch quest. You know, they get to the location, it's like, oh, you're almost there. And then,
Yeah, my big issue with it is so I discovered that there's previews for the next episode on the previous episode. So at the end of episode 5, I watched the preview and we saw in the preview them going in and finding his brother, and then it like cuts to his, now I know the brother's wife, and she's like, be careful who you trust. Don't trust him because he's a bad guy. And then it cuts to them like riding away on horses shooting behind. So I'm like, oh, they're gonna go find Joel's brother. Great. And then they're gonna like get in trouble with the people that Joel's brother's with, and they're gonna have to run away from him. They're shooting at him. And no, it just turns out, oh, they ran into 4 dudes with a bat. They've got guns, and for some reason they're so afraid of them. And then Joel gets stabbed. Like, what an anticlimactic thing to me. So
that's
I
fair. I
felt,
didn't watch the preview, so I didn't have that
yeah,
same baggage.
yeah, and so that was one of the big issues. Is like I just felt like they underdelivered from
Over
their
promised
promise.
and under delivered. Got it.
Exactly. So I felt like it was going to be this whole big thing where like everyone's against Joel. They try to kick him out or something. They try to kill Ellie because of her thing, and they got to get out of there. And then it was just kind of lame to me.
Well, they don't want to just
Like,
kill people, but yeah, no, yeah. It especially after from last episode, where
mhm.
you have like an army shooting a big zombie
Yeah.
essentially. But yeah, so let's talk about the beginning. They just kind
Mhm.
of are in this lady's house, this old lady and this old
Yep.
man, and I kind of loved that couple. They were just there like, oh, I don't even care.
Yeah.
Like,
It was it was funny because obviously they like intruded on them. He's holding them up at gunpoint, and yeah,
and they just sit
the
down there
woman's
like,
like,
oh.
she's like, "You made him food?" Yeah, sure, of course. Like, and might I say, she is eating well for a 20-year zombie apocalypse.
Yeah, for
Good on
sure.
them.
Yeah. But
He,
yeah,
he's a fantastic hunter.
so they're up in Wyoming. They get their little. It looks like they're on a reservation at first,
Mhm.
and then they get warned by these people. Hey, that's the river of death. Blah, right, and all this other stuff. So it's like, okay, well, there's why are there zombies in Wyoming? Honestly, I was thinking like there's like 5 people who live in that state right now. Like there's not going to be a lot of them out there.
Yeah.
Um, and really, I think the biggest thing I enjoyed in this so in the lead up to them reuniting with Tommy, is the relationship building more between
Hmm.
Ellie and Joel. Like straight up.
Yeah.
I mean, it's building at a proper pace, let's say.
I totally agree. And this, as we saw in the beginning, this was a time jump of 3 months. So between Kansas City to now, it's been 3 months, and you really see that relationship that's being cultivated there, right? They've been traveling together for 3 months, and they've been bonding for 3 months. And man, Ellie is just as annoying, right? She's constantly, man, she's like my child, just constantly asking questions. It's
Yep.
like, oh my gosh, does it never stop? So
Hey, what was that for? And Joel's like, that was a electric dam. They made power with it. No, I don't know how, so don't
yeah,
ask.
immediately,
Yeah, just dodges it. It's like, I
not
don't
he's
fucking
not
know.
gonna, yeah, he's not gonna have the same debacle as with the siphoning gas, right?
Yeah, but yeah. So I mean, really, the first part leading up to the town, not really much going on. Just kind of highlighting the bonding that's happened over that
Mhm.
time, and I thought it was a nice little touch. Then they enter the town. Well, they go to enter the town, right? Boom, they
Mhm.
cross the lake, and the puppy dog goes to sniff them, right? And we start getting something weird with Joel going on.
Mhm.
Panic attacks, like essentially.
Yeah, and it started happening after they left those people's house, right?
Hmm.
And I didn't immediately assume they were panic attacks. I was like, "Oh, Jesus, what the heck? He's having trouble breathing. Like, is he Are they gonna drop that he's got cancer or something, and
Yeah.
he's only got a few months to live to get her to this place? And no, it's panic attacks slash, I mean, PTSD,
Yeah, he's got a
flashback slash trauma.
he's
Right?
got a lot going on, and now that I feel like it's getting worse now because he's getting closer with Ellie and he's getting more worried, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Which I'm
True.
pretty sure he says that essentially, to
Essentially,
his brother, but yeah, it and it makes sense, you know. It really does. It's one thing to like completely shut yourself off. Probably a little bit easier to go through life with all that past trauma that dude had, but now that he's opened up to another, you know, teenage daughter, essentially, it's a daughter figure to him, whether he says so or not.
right.
So yeah, a lot of past trauma brought up.
Yeah, and what might I say as well? Whenever I thought it's so dumb to me, right? So they cross the first river, and before they cross the river, where there's this single bridge, he fires his gun. Why? Like, I guess to see if there's cordyceps that are coming, but the Native American couple first, they were like, "Oh, there's non-zombie bodies left, and there's zombie bodies left. We don't know who's killing them, but we see the bodies."
Yeah.
And so you're gonna attract attention to you, but then they cross the real river of death, right? And then like immediately they get
Surrounded
come up
by
on by these horses.
Yeah.
Like, man, that was really fortuitous, right? It was just perfect timing.
Yeah.
Right whenever she's like, "Wait, what if that's the river of death?" Look down on the map, look up. Oh, yeah. Like, oh, perfect timing.
Yeah.
And I mean, I guess it was cinematically looked good, so I get it. But,
Yeah. It and you know, I kind of figured Tommy was going to be at that commune immediately. So they at first are worried, like, all right, you know, just hands up, hands up. He's listening. The dog sniffs him and Ellie, and he's like relieved. Then they get in there, and he sees in the distance. He thinks his brother, and just immediately, you know, shouts and touching reunion. You know, and that's pretty much how it would go for most people. I feel like, you know,
Sure.
And then the commune area, it's pretty cool. You know, it's he makes a mention. He's like, "This is like communism." Tommy's like, "It's not communism." He's like, yeah, "This is
Like,
communism."
No, it's literally a commune. We
Yeah.
are communists.
So that was kind of funny, a nice
That
little
was funny.
yeah. I don't really have so much to say about this episode as much because really it's just character building between Ellie, Joel, his brother, and I don't want to nitpick every conversation, so I just really want to talk about one really good conversation, which also is a one-for-one conversation from the game, which is where, you know, he walks in and she's like, "So you just gonna ditch me then or whatever?" You know, that scene right there.
Oh yeah,
Um,
in the house.
Yeah, that's I think it was in a different location. I saw a video of the voice actors acting that scene out in the behind the scenes, and that was like dialogue word for word from the game, and it was pretty much acted out that way too, like in the game, the body movements and everything, the shove and whatnot. So
Yeah.
I thought that was
And
cool.
I've seen a couple videos of those side by side. I've sent you, I think, one or two.
Yeah.
But I've seen a few of those videos where it's a side by side of game dialogue and of the show dialogue, and it's just one for one, which I really like that these writers are able to put their egos aside, and they're just using dialogue that's already been written. And I know you said that the main is he the director?
I think he's
Or
the creator.
One of the showrunners, right, is like also the creator of the game, which is great because it maybe he's forcing these writers to put their egos aside. But I mean, the fact that the showrunners and that the studio allows them to do that is fantastic. Because we've seen with Rings of Power, we've seen with Wheel of Time, The Witcher, where they just totally take these adaptations they're doing and they decide, we know better. We're going to put our spin on this because we're the best writers. And no, The Last of Us isn't doing that. They're taking one for one dialogue.
Yeah,
And
I think
I love that.
I think the biggest thing on it is like, so in The Last of Us, I'm not as familiar with the source material, but it seems like the plot points, the actual story beats are one for one, and then they're adding like embellishments or characterizations or expanded backgrounds on stuff, which I think is a way better way to do it than say Wheel of Time, where they're like, oh, and by the way, Matt is just evil now. Oh, and also this and also that, where they changed the story beats and actually changed the plot that is more than just, side stuff. It's not world building, it's story changing, whereas this one feels more world building, but maybe I should just play the game, but I don't want to play the game because I want to be excited for each week of the episode. So
I know. That's same. I don't want to spoil it for myself yet. So probably afterwards I'll go back and play the game and be like, oh, hey, that's where they hit it. Ooh, they didn't do that. Oh.
Yeah.
But to bring it back, the whole commune, like you said, it's mostly character development, and it's really character development for Joel. Like, we're seeing basically his past is getting dug up, right? Ellie's told about Sarah, which Joel's daughter that died, and Joel really felt betrayed by Tommy, and Tommy's married now, and Joel's just not happy for him because he's mad at him for not contacting him.
Yeah.
Which rightfully so.
I would definitely be
dead.
Pissed, but also happy. Dude, congrats, but also fuck you.
Yeah, but also, what the heck? Why didn't you say anything to me? Like, you just left me high and dry. You didn't give me like a last communication, like, "Hey, I'm out. Bye."
Or hey, come move here. We got a place.
I mean, it was pretty obvious that I forget his wife's name.
Mary, Marlene, or something.
It's like Maya or Mariah. So it's an M name.
Yeah.
It was really obvious she did not want him there, right?
Yeah.
So
from the stories that have been told, we murdered people. Okay. Yeah. You're in a zombie apocalypse. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, Tommy is saying, like, I don't blame you for that. We did what we knew how to do to survive. But then, comes out Tommy's actually going to be a father, and again, Joel just can't express happiness for his brother. And then his brother's like, hey, I know you can't express your happiness for me. I know you are happy for me, and you just don't know how to say it. So, there's just all this Joel fighting his past in the commune. And I really enjoyed all of that stuff that happened.
And we finally see Joel get to open up, too.
Yeah.
Which was really, really nice. Him dumping the whole thing with what happened with Ellie, and his brother actually not freaking out immediately, just being like the initial shock was he was like, wait, she's infected, but he was like, I saw it myself, it was months ago, and he was like, all right, from the top, it shows like the actual trust bond they have. And then he was willing whole ass to take Ellie there to do the right thing when he's got a kid on the way, because it matters.
Yeah,
Ellie matters that much.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Pretty nice of Tommy, because Joel's like, look, dude, I'll never ask you for anything again. I'll leave you alone. This is the last thing, because I'm a piece of shit. Everything I do fails. Please, just take her.
I'm old. I can't hear my wrist, dude. I've been touching my wrist for the past week. I don't know what's going on. I can't get her there, and we need to get her there, because straight up, she's the cure. He put aside his pride, and mind you, I think he was driven more by fear than anything, fear of the past and of him messing up constantly, losing his daughter, it to happen again. But, he set aside his pride again after his discussion with Ellie, and just showed up and was like, I think you deserve a choice. And she's like, let's go immediately. Just come on.
Yeah.
It was like, oh.
That whole scene in the room whenever Ellie brings up Joel's daughter, and he's like, don't say another word. And then she's just like, no, screw you. Like, you're not the only one to have lost people. And then he's like, you don't know what loss is. She's like, what are you talking about?
I grew up in loss.
He's like, I'm an orphan. What are you talking about?
I'm an orphan. I lost a buddy. I'm a Cure. That's a huge weight on my shoulders. I never got to see the Cure in concert. I never got to go to a Metallica show. I never got to watch SpongeBob SquarePants. I didn't get any of the good stuff. My entire life is lost, Joel. So I think I win here.
Yeah, it was funny though too when he walks in and she's reading that diary and like, is this really what people worried about back then?
Yeah.
Like, this was it. What I wear, how this boy looked at me, like
Yeah.
like, yeah, if you're reading something from prior to an apocalypse, like, yeah, that would be a very different world.
Yeah, like, dude, if an apocalypse actually happens, like in our world, right? Like 100 years afterwards, if they come across some diary or something, where it's like, well, today I was feeling kind of sad because my teacher said I'm not living up to my potential and I could do better. So I went home and I tweeted at my friends for some affirmation as to my existence.
Yeah.
Not shitting on that, but like, I mean, if you're living, like, I mean, people living in the third world, I'm sure, don't have the same worries. Well, I know for a fact they don't have
I
the
mean,
same worries we have here. You know?
that's, I mean, yeah, that's
Yeah.
first world problems, right?
Yeah.
That's a saying. Like,
Yeah.
yes, it is a problem for you, but realistically, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So,
It's not that big of a problem. Sorry.
yeah.
It's really
So that
not.
was, yeah, it was pretty cool to see. And yeah, whenever he leaves and he kind of does make up with his brother, like, they don't, it seemed like the kind of makeup they would do, right? It's like,
Yeah.
it wasn't like Joel came right out and was like, dude, I love you. I'm happy you're going to be a father. Sorry about it.
bestest
Yeah.
brother.
Yeah.
That would have been
It
funny
wasn't
though.
any of
I would have
that.
I would have loved to have watched that.
It was like a nod and a hug by, and he's like, "Yeah, I'll see you later. Can I borrow your gun, by the way?"
Yeah. Hey, also though, that crazy scope you were just talking about, can I use that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was funny. And then after they leave, this is where I just got disappointed.
Yeah, so they make it to I-25. Cool. They're heading towards Colorado. Where at? Where are they heading to in Colorado? You would know.
Some university of Colorado. I don't know. I forget what town they said, but yeah, some university where apparently the Fireflies were using the medical center.
So they get there, a bunch of monkeys. When I saw the monkeys, I initially was like 28 weeks later, these are zombie
Yeah.
monkeys, right? They
Same.
weren't. They weren't. Which that did disappoint me. I was waiting for those monkeys just to like start going ham. But instead we got a bunch of just random dudes, right? They walk in, they can't find it. They up and moved. It looks like to Salt Lake City. Don't know why you would go there, but that's where they went. And then vagabonds show up. Yeah, definitely was he missed with the bat and then got stabbed. He killed him, broke his neck. And that whole sequence was kind of like, oh, that was a way to go out. I mean, there's no way he dies from this, right?
Right. We don't believe for a second he's not gonna make it.
Where's he
But
stabbed? He's stabbed like
it's like in the side of his stomach, and I don't fear for his life at all. Now, let me give you another reason I am mad about this ending. Right? So yeah, exactly. They come out. There's four dudes there. Sure, your adrenaline's pumping. You don't know if these guys have guns or not. You don't know what's going on. But it just seemed kind of anticlimactic for me. They're riding along this railroad track, and then he falls off. Which, man, I was worried about that more than coming up on four dudes. Like,
yeah.
falling off a horse down onto the ground like that, you can break your neck.
So they got to head to Salt Lake City, but in order for them to do that, Joel has to not die. Which Ellie can't really help him with. So who do they meet next episode?
Well, for anyone who doesn't want spoilers for the preview for next episode, I'm going to start talking about it right now. Next episode
You're gonna spoil me.
I am going to spoil you because this is one of the reasons that I was disappointed more than usual, right, at this ending. Next episode is another filler episode. We are getting the backstory of Ellie's mall incident. So,
Well, that's good to know. But I
sure.
definitely would like to see what happens now.
Yeah, so going from this last preview that set me up for they overpromised, underdelivered, to this cliffhanger where it's like, ooh, Joel got stabbed. He's definitely not gonna die, but how do they get out of this? Who's gonna show up, Deus Ex Machina style, to just save him? And what's gonna happen so that Ellie can get him out of this, because I mean she's definitely not carrying his big ass out of there, right?
No.
And then I see the damn preview, and it's not what I want to see. I want to know what's going on, and then it's like, oh man, okay, so it's the whole Ellie Mall incident. Turns out she did not go down there alone, as we were sure, right? So
As we knew.
I won't get too deep into it in case you don't want to know about that, but it just piled on my disappointment, and I'm pretty upset about that.
Well,
It'll probably be a cool backstory that we would want to know,
yeah.
but in the order that it is, and then we only have 2 episodes left after that. I was a little disappointed.
So I will say, as somebody who didn't watch last week's preview, this episode was good up until, like I said, the ending kind of just happened. It kind of just happens. You know, there was no suspense building into it, really.
I totally agree with that.
I don't think this was a weak episode by any means. I do think, though, that it felt a little bit more rushed than the others.
I agree. Like I said, I really enjoyed this first 3 quarters, and I think what you said is that the end just felt out of nowhere, and it was like just a start to a new fetch quest.
Yeah.
It didn't feel set up properly. Like, oh, they get there, and then everyone just moved to Utah. Okay, what? Are you serious?
Time to go to Utah.
Right. Gotta go to Utah now.
But this time, good luck. You're stabbed.
Yeah, I think it could have been done a lot better, and I was a little bit disappointed by the end. Like you said, it was a good episode. I still like this one overall.
Yeah.
It didn't hit as good as, say, episode 4 and 5, right?
Yeah.
Which I really enjoyed.
For sure. I am looking forward to next week's episode. If it's the mall episode, which I guess now is what it is.
It is.
That's going to be interesting to see how that goes down. But I'm going to make my predictions for the main story as a whole right now. And that's Joel doesn't die. They meet some random guy on the road who helps him out, bandages him up. He's a good guy, but then he gets a little bit weird. So Joel has to kill him. And Ellie went to go trust the guy, but he got weird with her. And then Joel had to kill to protect Ellie. So it's going to add more trauma onto the situation. That's my guess. Oh, and then they get to Salt Lake City, and they're met by Jesuits.
Yeah,
That's my guess.
I don't think that's not a bad guess. I think it sounds pretty good. Yeah, I feel like, so episode next to 7 is the mall. Episode 8 is obviously going to be how Joel gets better, and then episode 9 is going to be them going into Utah. And I feel like whenever and we'll see after episode 8. Well, I feel like once they actually get to Salt Lake City, it's going to turn out like, oh, they're going to do some weird bad guy testing on Ellie, and I can't have that happen, and we got to get you out of here, because even though you would be the cure for everybody, I'm not going to let you die for that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they could just take her blood and test it, but also it's a movie and there has to be a bad guy, and that's scientists. Scientists are bad guys. Earth is flat. There's an ice wall.
Scientists do seem like they make easy bad guys.
Yeah.
But overall, I enjoyed this one. I like your predictions. I think they sound pretty good.
All in all, good episode. With that, Ray, out.
Thanks for watching. Hey, Nick here. If you enjoyed this video, please gently caress that like button for us.
And Ray, thanks for watching. It was a blast. Make sure to hit that subscribe if you want to stay up to date with what we're doing, what me and him are doing. There. Me and him, Nick and Ray. Subscribe.